Hi everyone, this is William from the Headphone Experience. I'm here tonight with the fourth in my series of Best of the Year videos, and this one's gonna basically cover headphone accessories, and I'm not really doing awards on these. I'm just gonna show you some of my favorite accessories that just make things easier. So I'm gonna start out with cables. And oh, I did want to point out, if you haven't noticed already, I've got a big red mark and kind of a injury on my forehead. And when was it? Last night, got hit by about a 20-pound chunk of wood in the head, fell about 3 feet, and got a sort of a headache and a little bit of a sore neck, but I'm going to try to shoot this video anyway, so try to ignore the big wound on my forehead while I do this video. So anyway, first thing I wanted to talk about is headphone cables. And if you watched my video I did not too long ago, it was just a few months ago, about is there really a difference in the sound of different headphone cables? And I told you then, and I'll be honest with you now, I don't think that there's a substantial difference in the sound from one cable to another. I'm not saying there's no difference, I'm just saying that I don't buy the night and day difference as some people talk about comparing one cable to another. I believe there can be some subtle differences in the sound of analog cables, but I compared several cables of different prices and using several amps, several headphones, and thought at times I heard some differences, but not anything that I could absolutely be sure about. Whether there was an actual difference in the sound or whether it was just more of a placebo effect. So anyway, but I do appreciate build quality and things like that as far as cables. I mean, there's a lot of difference between cables, and some have cheap connectors, some don't last long because the solder joints aren't done properly. And there's just a lot of different things. And then the material, you know, some headphone cables, if you rub them on anything, it transfers sound into your headphone cups and can be really annoying. So anyway, I'm just going to show you some of my favorite headphone cables that I've reviewed or used in the last couple of years. And I'm going to start out with this one, and this is probably the nicest headphone cable I have reviewed. This is by Marcos Custom Cables. And it has a 4-pin XLR on one end, and it's 3.5 millimeter connectors on the other end, so this works well with like Hi-Fi Man headphones and all that. About 6 feet long, braided design. It's kind of a paracord type covering, but anyway, really soft, really flexible, really nice, and of course it sounds great. But anyway, probably I forgot what the wire is. I think the connectors are like rhodinium or something like that. But anyway, definitely a premium cable that I really enjoy. Marcos Custom Cables, and I think this one retails at about $400, but they do have quite a range of different prices and different materials. This is another cable I really like. This one's by Kennerton Audio out of St. Petersburg, Russia. And I reviewed quite a few of their headphones. This one has a 4-pin XLR also, but it has 4-pin mini XLRs at the headphone end. Same thing, sort of a paracord type thing. I think it's made the cables of Litz copper. About 2 meters long, very soft, flexible, very nice headphone cable. I think this goes for about $295. I wanted to show you this one that APOS Audio sent me. This is one of their APOS Flow cables, and this one has a 4.4 millimeter Pentagon balanced connection at the headphone end, or at the amp end, and many 4-pin XLRs at the headphone end. This one's about 5 feet long, has a nice soft, once again I think it's a paracord covering, but it's 1 instead of 3 we've woven together, and very nice cable, and I think this currently goes for about $149. This is a cable from JM Audio, and I'm reviewing a couple of their headphones right now, including my headphone of the year, the XTC2 open back with beryllium drivers, and this is not the cable that comes with the headphones, but this is like an upgrade cable from Jam Audio. It's like an 8-wire woven design here, and 4-pin XLR connector at the amp end, 3.5 at the headphone end. I think this is about 7 feet long. Really nice cable, and if I looked at their website, and I'm not absolutely sure if I got the right cable, but I think this sells for about $129. And then this is a cable that I've had for a while. It came from Meza Audio. This is the 99 Classic silver-plated cable, an upgrade to the stock cable that comes on the 99 Classic. It's got a 4-pin, or I'm sorry, it's got a 4.4 millimeter Pentacon balance connection at the amp end, 3.5s at the headphone end. This also works on Hi-Fi Man and just about any headphone that uses 3.5 millimeter connections. This one's about, I think, about 4 feet long, so I'd really like using this one at my desk so I don't have a bunch of cable strung all over the place. Anyway, I think this currently sells for $129 through Meza Audio, and that's in US dollars. Okay, I wanted to show you a couple other cables that have come in pretty handy for me. This one's from iFi Audio. This one's a little different here. This is a cable that goes from 4.4 millimeter Pentacon balance to 2 separate 4-pin full-size XLRs. And what this is for, where this really comes in handy, the small iFi Audio DACs and amps and stuff use for the 4-pin or 4.4 millimeter. So anyway, the output, like from the DAC, I reviewed the Zen 1 Signature DAC, and the balanced output of that is 4.4 millimeter, because there's no room for XLRs on a small amp. So by using this cable, I can go from the output of the Zen 1 Signature into an amp that uses full-size XLRs, and it makes it so the two are compatible, can be hooked together. And I got this from iFi Audio a while back, and I couldn't find the current price. It's still listed on their website, but I didn't see a price or couldn't find it. But I think this sells, I think it was somewhere between like $129 and $149. I'm not sure, but just a really handy cable to have around, and I guess it looks like it's an 8-wire woven design. And then another cable that comes in really handy that I use a lot more than I thought I would. This is this little short cable, about 18 inches long. This is from Kennerton Audio. And this goes from 6.3 millimeter single-ended to a full-size 4-pin XLR. And what you can use this for, and you can do it this way, you can go from single-ended to balanced. You just don't want to go from balanced to single-ended, because then you're combining the grounds on your amp output and you can damage your amp. But this is okay. You can go from single-ended, and then what this is good for is if you've already got a cable on your headphone with a 4-pin XLR connection, you know, the full size, you, instead of having to change cables, say you're using an amp that only has a single-ended output, your 6.3, like most tube amps. Instead of having to change the cable, because you can't use this, you just plug this into your amp, and then you plug this into the end of that, because it's a male connector, and fits your female connector, and now you can use your 4-pin XLR cable on a 6.3 millimeter output amp, which would be like the Felix Audio amps, things like that are single-ended. So this comes in really handy, like if I'm comparing amps. Say I'm comparing an amp that has a 6.3 millimeter output to an amp that has a 4-pin XLR. Instead of having to change a cable back and forth, I can just plug this into the one amp and then use the same cable and go back and forth and compare a headphone on, or compare two different amps with one headphone. Another little cable that you don't really think about. Everyone has the 6.3 millimeter to 3.5 millimeter adapters that come with most headphone cables, but this one's the opposite. This goes from 3.5 millimeter output on your amp to a 6.3. So with this, some like portable units don't have a full size 6.3 millimeter headphone jack. So by using this, you can use your cable with your full size 6.3 and go into 3.5. And it's got a little short cable on the end here, so you're not putting all the stress on the joint. Another cable that, give me just a second here, that comes in pretty handy. This is from Pangea Audio, which is sold through Audio Advisor, and it is a 15-foot extension cord. It's got it's made for 6.3 millimeter single-ended, but it's 15 feet long, made of a really nice material, doesn't make any sound rubbing on it itself, and it's nice and soft and flexible, doesn't get tangled up. And you can extend yourself out, you know, say you've already got a 7-foot cable on your headphone, you got another 15 feet, you can be all the way across the room. I can plug this like into my surround sound receiver and listen to headphones sitting on the couch watching a movie with this. So it comes in pretty handy. Goes for about $79, I believe. Here's a little adapter that's really handy. This is from Venture Electronics, and what this is, it goes from 4 pin full-size XLR down to a 4.4 millimeter Pentagon balanced connection. So what this is for is, say you're using a cable like this APOS with your 4.4 millimeter connection on it. With this adapter, you can plug this into here and then plug this into your 4.4 millimeter or your 4-pin full-size XLR in your amp. Use the same cable. So another excellent device for comparing amps. Say I'm using a headphone and I've got this cable on it, and I'm comparing two amps, and one uses the 4-pin XLR and the other uses a 4.4 millimeter. Well, I can leave this on the one amp with the XLR and then plug this in from one amp and then plug it into the adapter on the other amp, and once again don't have to switch cables. So it just saves on, you know, having a bunch of different cables, because you're going to need cables with different ends at the headphone end, and you don't want to have 3 or 4 cables of every type. Well, you might eventually accumulate them, but if you don't, little adapters like this can save a lot of money on cables. And I'm not sure the current price on these, but they're also available in 2.5 millimeter and 3.5. But that's 3.5 balanced, not 3.5 TRS. So anyway, I think these go for like $30. I don't know if that's for, I'm not sure if that's for one or if that's for all three. So anyway, something else I have here is some Earpads that I find really nice, and they're universal. They fit on a lot of different things. These are made by Headphone Audio. They're made of lambskin leather, real leather. They've got, now the newer ones are available with memory foam in it. You can get them either perforated or non-perforated, or bigger holes, smaller holes, which can significantly change the sound. Usually Earpads without perforations will give you the most bass, and then the larger the perforations, the more of a neutral sound, so you can kind of tune your headphones. And these here, they've just got the flap on the back, and these work excellent with the round Hi-Fi Man headphones. I've used these on like the HE 500, the HE 560, the Sindara. A big improvement to the Sindara using these. And what you have to do is, the Hi-Fi Mans, you have to take the plastic ring that's on the back of the stock Earpads off of those and put it on these, but you don't have to glue it or anything. Just tucks on there and snaps right on your Hi-Fi Man headphones. Way more comfortable, way more durable than the stock, and I think these go for about $83 a pair, and that would be in US dollars. So Did want to mention power conditioners, and I reviewed a couple of them, and I'll start with the iFi Audio Power Station, which basically looks like a large power strip. It's about so big, and it has 8 outlets on it. And but it is a surge protector and a power conditioner built into one, and it has active power conditioning, where it actually measures any incoming noise and creates an equal and opposite frequency to basically cancel out any noise in the signal. So it's interesting because it's both active and passive filtration, and it really does make a difference. I normally don't have much noise in my electric coming into my house because I live out in the country and I'm the only building on my transformer. So I've got my own transformer, step-down transformer, comes right to my house, so my power is pretty clean. But in reviewing a few power conditioners, I actually introduced some artificial noise through some track lights on a dimmer, through a ceiling fan, other things I could turn on and create noise. And the iFi power station that sells for $749 actually did a very good job of filtering out any artificial noise that I introduced to the circuit. And then an even bigger step up would be the Core Power Technologies, which I happen to have in the picture behind me, which I've been using for about 3 years now as my primary clean power supply. And it's 2 units. The first one, which is the Deep Core 1800, which is on the bottom there, that basically filters out your any DC current mixed in with your AC, cleans up your power. And then the second unit filters out any radio noise, things like that. And between the two of them, they do a really good job cleaning the power. And it used to be anytime I did any critical listening, I had to make sure that nothing was on in the same room, even though they were on a different circuit. If I had the track lights on, which had a dimmer switch, ceiling fan, different things, it could introduce a little bit of grunge into my sound, and I had to make sure all that stuff was off. Well, now using these, between the two of them, it filters all that out, and it doesn't matter. I can leave that stuff on even doing critical listening. So it does a very good job of providing clean power. And then, sorry, I heard something in the background. Anyway, and then something else I wanted to mention is the Shit Audio Loki, which actually it's the mini Loki that I reviewed. It's a little 4-band equalizer that's dead quiet, doesn't introduce any noise to the circuit. Sells for $149, and at the time that was the only equalizer that Shit Audio sold, but now they've got the Loki Max and the Lokius or something like that. One is a 6-band, and then the other is like a full-size, full-width, bigger, has balanced in and out and all that stuff. Anyway, but does a really good job if you do want to mess around with EQ, and it is amazing how you can take a headphone that really isn't your cup of tea, tone balance wise, and make it so it really is what you like. You know, you can add a little bass, you know, do whatever you want, and you know, change the headphone quite a bit to make I've had some headphones that I wasn't crazy about till I messed with the EQ a little bit, and actually they turned out to be really nice headphones. And then one other thing I want to mention as far as accessories, and I've got about a dozen of these, and they're hard cases. They're called the Apache 2800, and I get these at Harbor Freight, and it's a waterproof, dustproof, impact proof. I can stand on these things, and I go about 210 pounds. And they come with a foam insert that's in the form of little blocks, and you can pull it apart and shape it any way you want. Put your headphone in there. It gives your headphones great protection, and Even, you know, from dust and all that, nothing's going to get in here. These are waterproof. One of my listeners said he actually tried some of these and held them underwater for 30 minutes and didn't get any water into the case at all. And these things, I think, I was getting them for, I think, $30. Occasionally they were on sale for like $27. I think they might be up to $32 or $33 now, but they just work out really well. There's different sizes, but the 2800 is a size I've picked to keep my full-size headphones in. Works out really well. So I guess that's it. I'm going to wrap this up, and this wraps up my best of the year videos, and I'm going to get back to my full reviews that are way overdue that I need to do. First one is the Topping E50L50 stack. Great little DAC and headphone amp, and that's way overdue, and I'm going to try to get that full review out in a couple days. And then I've got my full review of the iFi Audio, what's it called? The Pro IDSD Signature. Great amp DAC, incredible, really like that. Got my full review of that and some JM Audio reviews on the two headphones I got in from them. And anyway, got to get back kind of on schedule here, and so be back in a few days with hopefully that Topping review. And in the meantime, I appreciate watching my videos, and please give me a thumbs up if this helped. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and the Headphone Experience on Facebook is up to 28.5 thousand members. We've gained like 500 members in the last, I think, 11 days over there. Thing is just growing like crazy. So hope to see you over there, and once again, thanks for watching my video.